Good morning, Pittsburgh. Welcome to Pitt to the Point, live from state-of-the-art Pitt Studios. I'm David Altman.
And I'm Allie Ross. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Pitt to the Point is your one-hour news magazine show that covers everything at the University of Pittsburgh to its regional campuses.
To the City of Pittsburgh, as well as national and international news. We'll be bringing you everything from entertainment, politics, and sports.
And we'll be sure to keep you updated on all things Pittsburgh, all the way to the point. Almost 4.5 years ago, disaster struck the Jewish community in Pittsburgh, as 11 people in the Tree of Life Synagogue lost their lives to a shooter during morning services.
The trial for the gunman in the Pittsburgh synagogue shooting is set to begin soon. And we talked to survivor Carol Black, whose brother passed away in the shooting, about what this means for the Jewish community.
A day. As a matter of fact, it was the worst day of my life. When the shooting started, I was able to hide in a closet. I was in the closet for a really long time. And then I was rescued by the wonderful Pittsburgh police and the SWAT team that saved my life. So it was a scary day, a day that I hope to never repeat again. And I really don't want anybody else to ever have to experience that either.
Carol, I wanted to thank you for sharing that with us. Now, before I ask you a question, I want to give you a little bit of a personal thank you because I'm Jewish. Anyone in my life can tell you that being Jewish is a big part of my identity. I'm on a Pitt Chabad's e-board. I wear a star around my neck. I'm wearing the current campaign, which is a 2.455. Right now. The past 2 days, as you know, we've been observing Yom HaShoah.
Yes.
Do you see any connection between the tragedies that Jewish people face today, such as this one, and the persecution and violence that we faced during the Holocaust as well?
I do. Over Yom HaShoah, I was invited to speak to the Jewish Federation in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And the theme was the Holocaust. Actually, one of the keynote speakers there was talking about Father Conklin. And if you don't know who he is, you should Google him. He was not a good guy. But when you stop and think that in the 30s and 40s in Europe, Hitler was coming to power and bad things were happening to Jewish people, and they did something and nobody said anything. And so they did a little more and nobody said anything. And before you knew it, there were concentration camps and millions of Jews lost their lives for the fact that they were Jewish. And we think about in the United States, the land of the free. But when I start seeing more and more acts of anti-Semitism around the country, it makes me wonder, could that terrible thing happen here? And I think it's very important to educate young people. And maybe it needs to start in elementary school. But certainly, some of the people that I talked to while I was away earlier this week were high school students. In a pretty rural area, and I don't even know if there was anybody Jewish in that school. You can hear about things in the news, and if you don't know anybody, it doesn't touch you. And so they were exposed to somebody that it did touch, and there are more and more teachers across the country that are teaching courses or having as part of their history class, they're learning about the Holocaust. And as we all know, if you forget history, it can repeat.
What do you hope that the trial and a potential conviction would bring for the Jewish community and the Pittsburgh community at large?
Well, I think it would be wonderful to have this whole experience behind us. We've been waiting 4.5 years for justice. Not that regardless of what happens, there isn't any such thing as justice in a case like this, but at least we will no longer have it hanging over our heads. we can put it in our rear view mirrors and move along with what I plan to do is lead a joyous life. I think that's what my brother would want me to do.
Well, Carol, I hear you know a thing or two about Pitt Stadium.
I'll tell you a story, and this goes back many moons ago. On my 19th birthday, Pitt was playing West Virginia. But at any rate, on this particular day, at halftime, Pitt was behind 34-7. And what makes this a little bit more of a standout is my brother knew it was my birthday, and he bought tickets to take me to the game. So there we are at the game together, and the team goes in at halftime, and some kind of magic happened in the locker room. But Pitt came out in the second half, and we won the game 35-34 or 36-35, whatever it was. We won by 1 point. And it was very exciting. And my brother and I decided to start a tradition. And we became season ticket holders to Pitt football, which I still am. We were ticket holders together for 35 years.
Once again, I would like to thank Carol Black for joining us that Wednesday evening. As you can tell by that, 1027 had a particular effect on me and my fellow brothers and sisters in the Jewish Pittsburgh community. This week, big names have returned to the Senate in both the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. Newly elected Pennsylvania Senator John Fetterman returns after 44 days in the hospital. Fetterman was being treated for severe depression.
Former Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell also returned Monday after 6 weeks. He suffered a concussion and a fractured rib after a fall at a hotel in March. Our political reporter Joey Tebben has more on these stories. What's up, Joey?
Well, for the past couple of weeks, the United States Senate has been a little bit thinner than it normally is. There were times when it was as low as 96 out of 100 senators being there, with 4 senators out. But 2 of those most notable absences, as the anchor said, were John Fetterman, who was absent getting treated for clinical depression, and Mitch McConnell, who was absent getting treated for a concussion and a fractured rib. But this week, as the Senate reconvened for the first time in 2 weeks, both members made their returns to much fanfare.
On Monday, April 17th, Pennsylvania Senator John Fetterman and Kentucky Senator Mitch McConnell walked back into the U.S. Capitol again after lengthy periods of treatment and recovery. One Democrat, one Republican, but both were in a similar situation. In mid-February, Fetterman checked himself into Walter Reed National Military Medical Center to receive treatment for clinical depression. This came after Fetterman suffered a stroke in May of 2022, and almost 1/3 of stroke survivors suffer from depression afterwards. Fetterman was discharged 6 weeks later on March 31st. Fetterman's first order of business on his return came on Wednesday when he chaired his first subcommittee hearing, leading a hearing on food assistance policy for the Agriculture Subcommittee on Food and Nutrition. For McConnell, the leader of the Senate Republicans, it was an accident that took him out of contention for a few weeks. While attending a dinner at a Washington hotel in early March, McConnell tripped, receiving a concussion and a fractured rib. He was treated, then underwent physical therapy at a rehabilitation facility, and eventually returned home on March 25th before also returning to the Senate on April 17th. One senator who is still not returned is California's Dianne Feinstein, who's been recovering from shingles since late February. Feinstein is a member of the Senate Judiciary Committee, and her absence has prevented the committee from confirming some judges, leading some Democrats to call for her resignation. Feinstein requested to be replaced on the Judiciary Committee, but Republicans are planning to block this from happening. With Feinstein out, the Senate currently sits at 50 Democrats and 49 Republicans. It's razor-thin margins, and both parties are hoping they can get a little bit more wiggle room and expand their majorities after the 2024 elections.
You noticed at the end of that, we mentioned the 2024 elections again. For the past couple of weeks, we've been talking about the 2024 elections on Pitt to the Point, and we're not even halfway through 2023. That's how long these political seasons have become, but we've been able to cover all the craziness here on Pitt to the Point as it all kicks off. For now, for Pitt to the Point, I've been your political reporter, Joey Tebben. Allie and David?
Thanks, Joey. Pitt police declared a public safety emergency Tuesday in response to a protest on campus. More than 250 people protested a debate between Michael Knowles and Brad Palumbo on transgender identity.
Protesters called the event transphobic and hate speech. Knowles, a conservative political commentator from the Daily Wire, is known for calling for the eradication of, quote, transgenderism. At least 2 smoke bombs and 1 incendiary device were set off during the demonstration. Additionally, protesters burned an effigy of Knowles in the middle of O'Hara Street.
Pitt shut down buildings including Nordenberg Hall, Benedum Hall, and the William Pitt Union until 10:20 p.m. when Pitt police sent out the all clear. This was the second protest in response to the debate on Tuesday. The first took place earlier at Forbes Avenue and Bigelow Boulevard, blocking traffic for more than an hour and a half. Now, moving to our medical minute, the Supreme Court will consider a lower court ruling today concerning access to a common abortion medication as abortion opponents target the FDA approval of mifepristone.
This occurs less than a year after Roe v. Wade was overturned, leaving many wondering what's next for abortion rights. For more on the science behind this medication, here's our medical minute with Anthony Siki. Anthony?
Thanks, guys. There's a drug you've probably heard a lot about in the news recently called mifepristone.
Sorry if you're experiencing any technical difficulties right now. We are going to get Anthony to you very soon.
Well, coming right up.
All right, it looks like Anthony's ready for us, so
Yep.
we're going to send it over to him now.
Anthony, you go.
I'm sorry about the technical difficulties. Well, there's a drug you've probably heard a lot about in the news recently called mifepristone. Now, there's currently an ongoing legal battle involving the drug that historically has been used in about 50% of abortions in the United States. Now, the case is being led by U.S. District Court Judge Matthew Kaczmarek as he's calling for the FDA's approval of the drug to be suspended. Now, with the spotlight being on the lawsuit, there's a lot of questions revolving around what the drug is, how it works, and why it's such a topic of discussion.
Mifepristone is a synthetic steroid that is responsible for more than 50% of all abortions in the United States. Mifepristone is taken in pill form and blocks the hormone progesterone's receptors, a hormone essential for pregnancy. This allows the pill to end pregnancy within the first 10 weeks of the pregnancy. The pill is commonly followed by an accompanying drug called misoprostol within 48 hours. The two drugs work in tandem as mifepristone makes the uterus more susceptible to the hormone prostaglandin, which misoprostol mimics. Taking these two pills together to terminate a pregnancy has an effectiveness of over 90%. Though typically these drugs are taken together, with mifepristone at risk of being significantly harder to purchase, they can be taken separately. Taking misoprostol on its own as an abortion drug is still effective with a success rate of about 80%. But taking it alone carries a larger chance of needing follow-up surgery after the pill is taken to finish the abortion. Though there are some side effects, using mifepristone and misoprostol in tandem is an extremely safe way to end a pregnancy, with less than 1% of people who take the pills in tandem suffering serious health complications. It is often used in treating Cushing's disease, where the body creates too much cortisol. U.S. District Court Judge Matthew Kaczmarek called for the FDA's approval of the drug to be suspended. They have given themselves until Friday to come to a decision and placed a temporary stay to maintain the FDA's approval of the drug. Many still fear that even the case itself will have a lasting effect. The case would also make it substantially more difficult to purchase mifepristone in states where abortion is legal. Many anti-abortion groups are in support of the bill, as Kaczmarek has historically aligned himself with these groups.
Mifepristone and misoprostol were both safe and effective drugs to use when terminating a pregnancy. Now, with the ongoing legal battle involving mifepristone, Pennsylvania actually launched a website last Monday to showcase safe abortion access in the state. Now, this website provides information related to safe abortion access and services in Pennsylvania. For more information, you can actually head over to that website at pa.gov/freedom to choose. From Pitt to the Point, I'm your medical reporter, Anthony Siki. David, Allie.
Thanks, Anthony. Coming right up, recent reports have raised debate about Pittsburgh's air quality growing in the area.
And you don't want to miss some of your favorite former Pitt football stars returning to their alma mater this week, including three-time NFL Defensive Player of the Year, Aaron Donald.
Stick around. Welcome back. Have you checked out our website yet? Well, if you haven't, give it a look.
If you want to see all your Pitt to the Point faves like me and David and stay up on current events, check us out on pittothepoint.com.
And if you want to check out the magic that happens behind the scenes and see more of our good-looking team, like me and Allie, check us out on social media.
You can find us on Instagram and Twitter at Pitt to the Point and on Facebook at Pitt to the Point. Check it out. Buffalo Bills defensive back and former Pitt Panther Damar Hamlin is cleared to return to playing football 4 months ago. He suffered a cardiac arrest on the field in a game against the Cincinnati Bengals.
Hamlin revealed that the cause of his cardiac arrest was commotio cordis, a rare event caused by a blow to the chest. Hamlin worked out with the team on Tuesday for the first time since the incident and, along with all of us, is enthusiastic for his return to the game.
So I'm here to announce that I plan on making a comeback to the NFL. So the diagnosis of pretty much what happened to me was basically commotio cordis. Commotio cordis is the leading cause of death in youth athletes across all sports. So that's something that I personally will be taking a step into.
You know, the nice weather has me excited for summer, but I'm even more excited that we're one step closer to football season.
My favorite time of the year. And this week, Pitt football showcased the elite talent that they have in store for us next season. Our Pitt sports reporters Donnie Blackwell and Nick Faribaugh were on the scene. What's up, Nick?
There was a lot that was up down at Acrisure Stadium on Saturday. The Pitt blue and gold game, this time a little bit different with a different format, went down. And it was a heated battle between the blue and the gold team, the offense and the defense. Let's look at some of those highlights from Saturday.
Pitt has a new format and welcomed plenty of fans to the spring game, and boy, it turned out to be quite a heated spring game. Defense struck first, Samuel Okunlola with the sack, putting the defense up 3-1 after the first drive. But the next drive, the offense was moving. Christian Veillere finds Jake McConkey down the middle for 23 yards, puts the offense in prime position, and it would be followed up by this. Christian Veillere scans the field, and he finds his running back, Derek Davis, in the flat. He does a little tightrope action down the sideline, and it's a touchdown from 13 yards out. The offense goes up 8-3 with the extra point being good. We head all the way to the second quarter. Phil Dracovic in the game, and it's a 4-yard touchdown run for Daniel Carter. The offense takes a 16-7 lead near halftime. Then the very next play, it's on the kickoff. Ben Sauls kicks it off deep to Rodney Hammond, takes it from the 9-yard line, and he will go from here virtually untouched. 91 yards to the house for Rodney Hammond. And just like that, the offense goes up 23-7 into the half. Then we head all the way to the fourth quarter. Ty Diefenbach picked off by P.J. O'Brien. He'll take it all the way 51 yards. Damar Hamlin's running after him. 12-point pick six. It's 31-24 defense. The defense kept it going. Jake Frano fumbles the snap. Jimmy Scott gets on it. Defense goes up 36-24. Late in the fourth, the offense responds. Jake Frano from 19 yards out gets the touchdown. It's 33-32 defense. Last drive of the game, an opportunity. Derek Davis gets a handoff, only goes about 7 yards. And the defense does wrap this one up in a spirited new spring game format. The defense comes out on top over the offense 33-32.
There was plenty that happened. The defense did come out victorious in a close game, but there were a lot of alumni that came by for the spring game. Damar Hamlin, Dane Jackson, Jordan Whitehead, but Aaron Donald was the biggest one there. And at Pitt to the Point, we had the privilege of sitting down with the Pitt legend. Our reporters, Donnie Blackwell and Aaron Clark, had a talk with the Pitt legend.
Plenty of Pitt legends were welcomed back to Acrisure Stadium for the Pitt spring game on Saturday. But none were bigger than former Pitt defensive tackle and future NFL Hall of Famer Aaron Donald.
I'm gonna feel good, anytime you're back home, it's where I'm born and raised, and then be able to come back to Pitt and see the young guys play, it's definitely cool. So,
Aaron Donald could just be coming back to Pitt to watch the team and look out for who the next Pitt great could be. But that's not just why Aaron Donald is showing up to Acrisure Stadium and is always around Pitt. He's got family involved. Number 94 defensive tackle Elliot Donald is Aaron Donald's nephew. He's been on the team for 3 years already, and he's looking to crack the defensive line rotation. So every offseason when Aaron Donald comes home, he works out at the UPMC Rooney Sports Complex with his nephew. And this could be the year where Aaron hopes to see Elliot take that leap.
I think, I kind of helped raise my nephew, so I remember him running around in diapers, and to be where he's at now, he can call my phone a lot, ask me a lot of questions, send me film, so I got a close relationship with my nephew, and definitely, try to push him and, to be his best, so.
Make no mistake, just because Elliot's last name is Donald and Pitt royalty doesn't mean he's gotten on the football field. In fact, he's played sparsely in his first 2 seasons in a Panther uniform. But this spring, he played at both defensive end and defensive tackle, and he put together a strong spring game. Defensive line coach Charlie Partridge thinks that Elliot Donald's tide is rising and that he could potentially play in the 2023 season.
Elliott, we cross-trained him a little bit this spring. He's done some end and some tackle to create some additional opportunities for him to get on the field because he is capable of playing outside. We'd probably protect him by putting him into the boundary a little bit more if he's into that position. But all of them, the tide is rising in that group, and it's fun to see the competition.
Seeing his nephew succeed is one motivation for Aaron Donald. Another motivation is his unwavering love for the University of Pittsburgh. In 2019, Donald donated a record 7-figure donation to the University of Pittsburgh's football program, and he got the training complex named after him. And then in 2023, he followed that up with $200,000 more for the Pitt Football Championship Fund.
That's amazing. But there's so many good memories back at Pitt, man. But, you know, I would say to start before that fourth quarter, in a packed stadium and hearing everybody sing that song is pretty cool. But it's good to be back home and see my nephew out there. It's a good feeling.
It's always great to see Aaron Donald around the Pitt program, and he continues to show plenty of love. But speaking of the NFL draft is coming up next Thursday, the first round at least, and it will go through Saturday. There are plenty of Pitt Panthers hoping to hear their names called, and plenty of Pittsburgh natives as well. One in particular, Joey Porter Jr. These guys, they're hoping to hear their name called in Kansas City next Thursday.
The NFL draft is a little bit under a week away, and there are plenty of Pittsburgh connections to go along with it. Joey Porter Jr. is in it. He's a North Allegheny graduate, and there are plenty of Pitt prospects to watch as well, with Kalijah Kancey and Israel Abanikanda. But as the draft gets closer, each of them want to showcase a little bit more of themselves.
It's just me being a man who I am, you know, same little boy from Brooklyn, New York, working hard, work ethic, and, you know, just learning under the coaches and continue getting better as a man on and off the field.
Kancey's expected to be a first-round draft pick, but he's getting a lot of comparisons to Aaron Donald. And Aaron Donald dropped by with a little gift from him, and it meant a lot to Kalijah Kancey.
I think that's great. A lot of guys don't have that. I think that's the privilege I have here from coming to Pitt, playing as the same type of player as Aaron Donald. And I think that's great for him to be vouching for me and pulling for his Pitt brother.
Meanwhile, Porter Jr. grew up with the weight of the world on his shoulders with his dad being an NFL player. But he's trying to create his own path.
He always told me there's going to be comparisons with me and him, and at a young age, he always told me that he wanted me to be better than him. So he just told me don't let the media, don't let nobody twist our words and twist what we got going on.
But could he play for the Steelers?
It's been good. I know a couple guys over there. Obviously, I know Coach Tomlin's sons and daughter and everything, so I got a good relationship with them. But at the end of the day, it's business, and if they want me, they'll get me, and if they have the opportunity, then we'll see what happens.
Joey Porter Jr. to the Steelers, it could happen. It wouldn't be the first time the Steelers have dipped their toes in the NFL bloodline pool. But will it happen? We'll see. And also for those Pitt guys, best of luck for them next week as they wait to hear their name called. I am Pitt to the Point. Pitt sports reporter Nick Fairbaugh sending it back to the guys back at the desk, Allie and Dave.
Thanks, Nick, for that great coverage there. Like Nick said, other Pitt Panthers turned NFL stars joined the sideline to call plays for the game.
Defensive backs Damar Hamlin and Dane Jackson of the Buffalo Bills and defensive back Jordan Whitehead of the New York Jets all made an appearance.
It's crazy you say that because I swear when I was like going into my freshman year of high school, I used to look up like videos of those guys, you know, back when he was at Central, you know, Dane was doing this thing, everybody. And yeah, I really do. Like, that's just motivation to me, you know. The things that they're doing now is just, I just want to get to there where I could do the same things that they're doing, you know what I'm saying? I really love what they're doing for the community and for the city.
Okay, so I'm on the sideline, I'm about to go on defense. Jordan Whitehead was like, hey man, we on your yo? Just read it, stay patient. So I go out there, I stay patient. I seen the tight end run like a drag route, and I just got in front of him. It was either a big hit or pick six.
Coming up, the theater program at a local Pittsburgh high school is reaching for new heights with their new show.
And it's Earth Day in Pittsburgh. See how you can help reduce fast fashion.
And see how this Pittsburgh native is making his mark in the big leagues, playing at baseball's top level all the way on the Golden Coast.
Stay tuned for all that and more.
We are the University of Pittsburgh, forged in a blue-collar city with gold standards, where innovators, researchers, thinkers, and healers are always reaching for new heights. There is no limit to but what we can accomplish when we put our minds, our hands, our soul and spirit toward it. Here, progress is always in progress. Hail to Pitt. Proud partner of the ACC.
Welcome back to Pitt to the Point. The American Lung Association released a report last week saying the Pittsburgh metropolitan area has some of the worst air quality in the country.
This week, our business and technology reporter Aiden Dean Dunn spoke to Pittsburgh Works Together, who have their own opinions on the issue. Aiden?
Thanks, David. On Wednesday morning at about 6 a.m., headlines flooded the web from local media outlets claiming that Pittsburgh metropolitan area has some of the worst air quality in the nation, according to an American Lung Association annual report. Now, simultaneously, a news report shot off the desk of a union labor coalition, Pittsburgh Works Together, claiming that this report is misleading and deceptive in its presentation of facts. We investigated to see where this discrepancy arose.
The ALA's annual report shows which American cities have the most polluted air quality, broken down into the three categories of ozone, short-term particle, and annual particle pollution. Now, particle pollution is a broad-catching term. Sometimes it's invisible, and other times it can be seen by the human eye as smoke, soot, or dust. But it's always present in the air, and it can come from a car exhaust pipe, construction sites, or smokestacks, among other producers. Pittsburgh's most eyebrow-raising rankings were in particle pollution, both in short-term and year-long, ranking at 20th and 14th respectively. This is where those headlines were derived from, and this is where Pittsburgh Works Together took issue.
They take readings that are from the heart of industrialized Allegheny County, apply those readings and that criteria to the rest of the counties in the metro area. And when you look at the data in their own report, the air in Westmoreland County, in Washington County, in Indiana County is some of the cleanest in the entire country, and their own report says that. How can you have clean air in one county and then you lump it together and all of a sudden it's failing in some of the worst air in the country? When they unfairly and unjustly frighten people, they're doing a disservice to the real environmental issues that are facing. You can raise a lot more money if you're scaring more people than if you're scaring fewer people.
Now, you may think that big business is just trying to protect their big business. But if you consider that a medical association may be embellishing claims to promote their own profit, something feels a little more surprising. Now, in between these two stories lies the truth. And as always, it's up to you, the viewer, to discern just what that truth is. For Pitt to the Point, I'm your business and technology reporter, Aiden Dean Dunn, and I'm going to toss it over to our city beat reporter, Natalie Bellin, for a more fashionable note on Earth Day. Natalie?
To celebrate Earth Day, which is this Saturday, I want to introduce you to sustainable fashion and to show you how easy it is. We're here with Mimsy, and she is a current student at Pitt. So, Mimsy, what is the goal for today?
We are going to create an outfit out of the clothes that here at the wonderful Buffalo Exchange for our wonderful reporter, Natalie.
So what are you hoping in terms of creating a look for me today?
Well, I want to make sure that you're comfortable with the amount of skin you're showing or not showing, and making sure you told me earlier that you wanted a semi-professional outfit, so I'm going to try to make it like that.
Perfect. I am so excited.
Me too. Okay, let's see. Yeah, Michael Kors. Okay. This one matches the pink in it, so that's good. And then there's also this red one that matches the red.
That's only $17, and that's a Michael Kors shirt. I definitely want that one.
Yeah.
The equivalent of one garbage truck full of clothing is being dumped in a landfill every second. There's a bunch of things that you can do before that piece of clothing ends its final stage in life. If everyone in the world got together and we decided that we can promote a reuse and repair culture when it comes to our clothing. This means that instead of buying a brand new outfit, we buy secondhand clothing. Each year, we would only buy maximum 8 new pieces of clothing. We could reduce the fashion industry's emissions by 37%. That's a huge impact.
On Saturday, April 22nd, the Buffalo Exchange is doing a $1 Earth Day sale. You can shop a selection of clothing and accessories for just $1. 100% of the proceeds will go to the Elephant Sanctuary. For Pitt to the Point, I'm City Beat reporter Natalie Bellin. Allie, David?
Thanks, Natalie. When we come back, actually, we're going to toss it over to our college and high school report over at Montour High School. What's going on, Spartans?
Good morning, David and Allie. Thanks for having us this morning. Montour High School is hosting their annual play this weekend, April 20th through the 23rd. This year's play is In the Heights.
In the Heights is a revolutionary musical that combines Latin dancing with hip-hop music to tell a captivating story about chasing your dreams. The director chose In the Heights for a change of pace after doing a very popular show last year, Mamma Mia. In the Heights does a great job of highlighting different cultures and bringing everyone together. This year's leading roles are Vanessa, played by Paulina Sanchez, Benny, played by Luke Rossetti, Camila Rosario, played by Nicolette Lysick, Kevin Rosario, played by Nathan Longwell, Nina Rosario, played by Ava Stropke, and Uznave de la Vega, played by Charlie McMahon. The cast members have been preparing by having nightly rehearsal leading up to this week's opening night and performing scenes from the play to the elementary students and in Montour's Poetry Out Loud event. Despite all the preparation, opening night jitters still seem to be present.
As a main character in the musical, it's definitely very stressful and I am a little bit nervous, but I feel like we've had enough preparation and I'm really excited to just get to show everyone what we've been working on for the past 3 months. So
we feel ready going into opening night. The practices have been going well. Today's the day. Opening night.
The Montour High School has embraced the upcoming play and the hallways are decorated in support of the cast. The cast appreciates the support they've been shown from the school community thus far and is hoping to thank them by putting on a great performance.
Looking like a great show so far. If you would like to support this year's production, join us April 20th to the 23rd for a great evening at Montour High School. Tickets are $10 and can be purchased at the entrance. From Montour's Bus Loop, I'm Braden Davin.
And I'm Rishanita. David, Allie.
Thanks, guys. We really appreciate you coming on this morning. Let me ask you, what is the thing that you're most looking forward to with this show? What maybe separates it from other shows?
The thing that I'm most looking forward to is just supporting my classmates. I mean, all the hard work they put in, practicing every day, 4 hours a day, just wanting to watch their hard work pay off.
For sure. In the Heights is a great musical. I saw the movie. I don't know if you've seen it. But I want to know, like, what other kinds of shows and musicals that they put on at your school? Like, what's your favorite that's happened in the past couple of years?
So my favorite's got to be last year's Mamma Mia. I think it was a really good show. It was really good.
That sounds really good. Yeah, that's another movie that I've seen that I really love.
I love that movie.
Yeah, I wish my high school would have done cool plays like that.
For sure.
Well, thank you for joining us, guys.
Thank you.
When we come back, he got his start playing Little League in the Pittsburgh suburbs, and now he's on his way to the City of Angels.
And see what Pitt Greensburg has in store for competitive gaming. Don't miss it.
They come here, forged in the spirit of change, pushing to answer the questions, and then questioning the answers, embracing each challenge as fuel for reinventing the world. Because here, leadership, courage, creativity, innovation, and progress are always in progress. The University of Pittsburgh, forged.
Welcome back to Pitt to the Point. This Pittsburgh native, Jake Pilarski, impressed Dodgers officials last December, landing himself a minor league contract. He played with the Dodgers in a spring training game this March.
Now, he might be in the minor leagues right now, but Pilarski's really shaping up to be a full-time Dodger very soon. Our City Sports reporter Josh Byrne has more on this promising Pittsburgher. Josh?
Thank you, David and Allie. As you guys just pointed out, the Pittsburgh area has another up-and-coming athlete on their hands, with this one setting his eyes on the show. As the Pirates continue to make immense strides this season, so is right-handed hurler Jake Pilarski, who dreams to one day pitch against the Pirates for the Los Angeles Dodgers. I had the honor to speak with Pilarski this week, who spoke about his upbringing in the 412 and how that has led him to where he is today and where he may be going very soon.
I went to Fox Chapel High School. I grew up playing for Little League Baseball for Sharpsburg and Aspinwall. I've probably played at basically every ballpark over the city of Pittsburgh. And if I haven't, then my dad did. So there's not a ballpark in that city that doesn't have a Pilarski name on it somewhere. I played for Sharpsburg and Aspinwall growing up. Went to Fox Chapel, played 4 years of varsity for Fox Chapel under Mike Frank, who was also our wrestling coach. One of the best coaches I've ever had in my life. Him and Brett Horowitz were our head coach and our pitching coach, and they really helped shape my pitching career. Played for the Pittsburgh Diamond Dogs, which was my travel team in high school. Played for them for 2 years. They helped me, get my name out to schools and stuff. Ended up taking the route going to Virginia Wesleyan, but they did a great job giving me a place to play over the summer. Got to go to a lot of fun tournaments and stuff with them. So they had a nice little facility too that we used to train out of. And then when I came back from Indie Ball, I got a job and got in contact with Seaside Sports. It's a indoor facility out in Cannonsburg. Chris Sidick. I reached out to him, honestly, just looking for a place to work out, and he came back with man, you can train here anytime, and if you want a job, we can see if we can get you a pitching coach job. So then he helped me get started with that, and I started giving pitching lessons to kids, and basically for the last 2 years now, it's been like home base for me when I'm home. So at the end of last year, I got through my second year of Indie Ball, and I started working out with a place called Tread Athletics that's based in Charlotte, North Carolina. Started working out with them, went down and threw a few bullpens. My velo kind of made a nice little jump for me, and they sent out my video to a bunch of teams, and the Dodgers got a hold of the video, and they called me and they said that they were really interested, that I had a good arm, and they liked my, the package that I could bring to the table. So they were going to sign me and give me a chance. Basically, they just kind of told me that I would come to spring training and get an opportunity to try to make a club out of spring training. And so I went to spring training and did what I could and ended up making a high A team. So to me, it was a huge testimony from my upper management of how well they think I did in spring training to even give me a chance to go to those Major League spring training games.
Pilarski is off to a fast start this season, having pitched a combined 4 1/3 shutout innings so far for the Great Lake Loons. If there were ever a prospect that you'd want to follow who isn't in the Pirates system, well, Jake Pilarski may be that guy. For Pitt to the Point, I'm City Sports reporter Josh Byrne. Now, for an epic gamer moment, here is Laura Stravick.
Thanks, Josh. Video games certainly have had a chokehold on our society since the 1980s when some of the very first consoles were manufactured. As video games have evolved, people's competitive spirits have as well, and the term esports or electronic sports was coined in the 1990s. Now, Pitt Greensburg has their very own esports team that they started in 2019, and we sat down with the coach to learn all about it. Let's take a look.
Esports are competitive events for video games of all sorts, like Overwatch, Fortnite, Valorant, and even online card games. Many colleges have started esports teams, and Pitt Greensburg is no exception.
It derived out of Nerd Fighters, our kind of pop culture gaming club on campus. And there was a group of students that played Overwatch at the time that wanted to be more competitive in gaming. I joke that on our campus that I was one of 6 or 7 people under the age of 30. So I was kind of just tossed into the mix because of that. I think it was 2019, the spring semester. We started with Overwatch. We had about 10 people. We have about 7 games that we play in now with about 28 students. Typically during a week, I told them we would have practice or 2 on top of a match, and then to get 10 to 15 hours of competitive time in with either themselves or their teammates. Our Fortnite team is playing this Saturday in the championship. They placed top, I think they finished 13th in the rankings for the whole NACE conference. This year we had most of our teams finished around like 500, just below 500, and didn't make it. I think we had one other team make the playoffs this year. So hopefully next semester with a room in place where they are able to play full time, they're able to get more play time and practice time with each other in.
The Pitt Greensburg esports team is expanding their facilities this year with a brand new gaming room and some upgraded equipment. They're also planning on throwing some summer camps for middle school and high school kids to learn all about the world of esports. So if you want more information on that, check out the UPG esports website. Also be sure to check out the Pitt to the Point YouTube channel sometime this weekend for a digital exclusive with the Bradford softball team. From Pitt to the Point, I'm your regional campus reporter, Laura Stravik. Allie, David?
Thanks, Laura. Coming up, see where you can get your salsa on by performing Latin dance right here in the Steel City.
And we'll help you get ready for the first ever Vintage Palooza right here on Pitt's campus.
And a Broadway legend joins us live as we go into her journey on Phantom of the Opera and hear her thoughts on the closing of Broadway's longest running show.
Stick around for more after the break.
We are the University of Pittsburgh, forged in a blue-collar city with gold standards, where innovators, researchers, thinkers, and healers are always reaching for new heights. There is no limit to what we can accomplish when we put our minds, our hands, our soul, and spirit to it. Here, progress is always in progress. Hail to Pitt, proud partner of the ACC.
Welcome back to Pitt to the Point. If you're a regular here, you already know David and I have both tried our hand at theater, and we've already had our own moments in the spotlight.
But neither of us have ever rose to the heights of this shining Broadway star, the legendary Gay Willis of Phantom of the Opera. Or at least not yet. She's here with our entertainment reporter, Lindsay Beck. Take it away, Lindsay.
Thanks, David and Allie. As a musical theater fanatic myself, I was shocked to hear that Broadway's longest-running show, The Phantom of the Opera, officially closed their 35-year run this past Sunday, April 16th. And just what a momentous day for the musical theater industry. Today, we have a very, very special guest joining us, award-winning soprano, Gay Willis. Gay, thank you so much for joining us today. We're so excited to get to talk to you. First, here is a snippet of Gay as Christine. So beautiful. Gay, thank you so much for joining us today. How are you doing?
I'm good. Good morning, Lindsay. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. Thank you so much. Now, Gay, that was so beautiful getting to listen to you sing. And you played Christine, the leading lady in Phantom of the Opera in 1994. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey leading up to getting to play this amazing role in such an amazing musical? And just a little bit about your path, your training, just your journey leading up to this life-changing role.
Oh, wow. That's a loaded question. I attended Shenandoah University, got a Bachelor of Music in Musical Theater. And then before I graduated college, I got Maria in West Side Story at a dinner theater, Toby's Dinner Theater in Columbia, Maryland. And I did some dinner theater for a couple years. And then I finally moved to New York, and one of the first things I auditioned for was a cattle call for Phantom of the Opera. Now, I didn't realize, well, I sort of knew that they had already been running in London, and that Sarah Brightman would be coming to play Christine, but I didn't realize, they've been auditioning people for years for this show, but I wasn't in New York at the time. I was probably still in college, but So I got typed out of that cattle call. And then a few months later, I was auditioning for something else for the same casting directors. And they said, "Did we see you for Phantom?" And I said, "Well, no, I got typed out." So, I wasn't the only Christine that actually like sort of got overlooked for a while. It's a big role. Anyway, I finally, I did Into the Woods national tour, and played Rapunzel in that, and understudied Cinderella, and so after I did that, I think they started looking at me more seriously, as though she could probably really play this role. And I met my husband on a world tour with Michael Crawford of the music of Andrew Lloyd Webber. And we played Royal Albert Hall in London, and we played Radio City Music Hall. And then producers in Toronto saw me and cast me as Christine in Toronto with Colm Wilkinson. So I feel really lucky that I was able to actually sing the music with Michael Crawford, who was the original Phantom. But some people may not know that Colm Wilkinson from Les Miserables was the original Phantom in the Sidmonton workshops. Before it ever was put on stage, they workshopped it in a pre-Broadway workshop. So Sidmonton, you can see some of the YouTube actually of Colm and Sarah Brightman, and it's all different. Like some of the dialogue and some of the music is different. It's really a cool thing for Phantom fans to actually look up, because you can see how different it was. The mask was a full mask instead of like just part of the face. And
oh wow, yeah, that is so interesting. Thank you so much for that little tidbit. That's actually really cool. So I just wanted to ask you about the closing night. So it was this past weekend, and I'm sure it was just a very emotional night for you and so many other people that were there. Obviously, Andrew Lloyd Webber was there as well. Can you tell us a little bit about your thoughts on that night and how you were feeling?
Well, I think so many of us, literally grew up doing Phantom of the Opera with, and, meeting our husbands and having our kids and sort of going through life together, along with, the greatest part was that my Raoul from Toronto, Laird McIntosh, there he is in his glory. Look at him. He was on as the Phantom, and it was so moving to be able to share that moment with him, because I was his first Christine as Raoul, and then when he went on as Phantom understudy in Toronto, I was his Christine when he did the Phantom. There's a picture of the three of me with the two understudies, the understudy Raoul, who was on for him, and him as the Phantom. If you can find that somewhere, that's a fun tidbit. But yeah, it was a really great, and there was so many of us that have crossed paths through Phantom and Showboat, and different. I worked with so many of the different Phantoms in Hal Prince's Tony Award winning revival of Showboat. So that was cool. It was just great to run it.
Yeah, that's so, thank you so much for telling us all these amazing stories about your experience with Phantom. It was so great to get to talk to you today. Sadly, we're out of time, but thank you so much for joining us, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you so very much, Lindsay. Bye.
See ya. Now, staying on the theme of entertainment, I got the chance last week to head to the heart of downtown Pittsburgh to immerse myself in the world of Latin dance. And as I learned pretty quickly, Latin dance is not just about dance. It's an experience like nothing else. The Crossbody Dance and Movement Studio in downtown Pittsburgh focuses on celebrating Latin culture and many Latin dance styles, such as bachata and salsa. The studio hosts a variety of weekly and monthly Latin dance events, such as weekly Latin Thursdays, where dancers can come socialize and salsa the night away to the music provided by a live in-studio DJ. Not only is attending dance classes and events a great workout, it is also a great way to connect with new friends and your community.
I was looking for kind of like a way to socialize, learn a new skill. I found this place, and I felt like I've really developed a lot as a dancer because of it.
As a Latino, I was looking to embrace my Latino culture, and after a year, look at this, all the amazing people have been supporting me emotionally.
The directors of Crossbody Dance and Movement Studio are Vincent Jones and Rachel Booth. Both are world champion Latin dancers, competitors, and instructors. They've performed all over the world, bringing back with them many accolades that speak to their skills. Their goal at the studio is to create an inclusive and encouraging environment for people to come together, move their bodies, and grow in their confidence.
With the classes that we do now, we do try to train heavily with technique and foundations so that when people do progress, things are being led and followed safely and comfortably and beautifully. Dance helps you clear your mind.
The studio provides group classes, private lessons, and specialized workshops. Dancers may have the opportunity to join performance and competition dance teams.
I moved to the city right after the pandemic and didn't really have a lot of friends, and now here we're all friends. They were at my parents' house this weekend for game night.
This summer in Pittsburgh, including Acrisure Stadium with some big names like Luke Combs, Taylor Swift, Ed Sheeran, and Beyonce. We've also got PNC Park with Morgan Wallen and Pink, and we also have PPG Arena and of course Stage AE, packed with concerts all summer long. Plus, Heartwood Acres has their Wonderworks Festival with headliners Hozier and Jason Mraz, and they're selling out quick, so make sure you go ahead and grab your tickets while you still can. From Pitt to the Point, I'm your entertainment reporter, Lindsay Beck. Allie, David.
Thanks, Lindsay. Each week, we've spotlighted one Panther graduate to hear about their life work and the effect that they've had on the community.
And this week's alum is really out there in the field, getting her hands dirty. Let's check out our alumni spotlight.
I'm Audrey Kettleberger, and I'm a geologist. Sometimes I call myself a field engineer. I came in as undecided, and my freshman year, I just took a whole bunch of classes. I took like computer science, I took forensic anthropology, I took the introductory geology course. I just ended up really liking the geology course and I stuck with it. That's how I got to where I am today. It was very helpful that Pitt offers so many options. Right now I work for a geotechnical consulting firm. Basically my job is to go out to a different site every day and we bring a drilling rig and gather all this information about the underlying soils. It's really interesting to see the process from like start to finish because I'll be on sites before construction starts, during construction. So I got nominated after my field camp by one of my professors to apply for this fellowship. I ended up getting it. It's with the USGS, which is the United States Geological Survey. I'll be looking at lake cores, doing limnology, where they'll take cores from lakes in Alaska. I'll basically be working in a lab every day, analyzing the sediment. It's almost like a timeline, and you get to make inferences about past climates and then use that data to kind of infer what might be in store for us as the climate continues to change now. It's just always exciting to find something new.
Man, that segment really rocks.
You know what you sound like? You sound like one of those like cheesy characters from like a 90s TV show or movie.
What? I love the 90s. That is my favorite decade, mind you.
You clearly have never heard of the 70s. The music, the vibes, just everything that was there was amazing.
Well, at least we can agree that we both love vintage. And I think our Pitt Beat reporter, Shay Sweeney, has an event that we both need to check out. The first ever Vintage Palooza.
Pitt Vintage Palooza is a vintage clothing market with 15 vendors from around the Pittsburgh and greater Western Pennsylvania area. So probably over half our vendors are from right around Pittsburgh, and the other half kind of travel from State College, Morgantown. So kind of all over, representative of the vintage community. What you can expect is a wide selection of vintage clothing all the way from the 60s to Y2K.
Vendors bring their collections and creations to connect students to new brands and give them a unique look to build their style. And behind these unique outfits is a type of care and artistry you won't find anywhere else.
I started the brand where I was like just making new t-shirts, but then like kind of like the fact that you can elaborate on the past too. So like if I take a t-shirt that I found that like per se Goodwill, and then it's like, oh, I really like this t-shirt. Like it's like, for example, this is like a Looney Tunes one. And then I put Michael Jordan on the back. So it's just kind of giving something from the past, just a whole new story to tell.
The goal of the event is to grow the vintage community on Pitt's campus. There's going to be something there for everybody.
When we get back after the break, we're headed off to the circus with one of Pitt's most uniquely talented clubs.
Yeah, I hear they know a thing or two about juggling. Stay right there, Pittsburgh.
We are Pitt to the Point underclassmen, and we hate to see our seniors go because we love them so much.
So we came up with this great idea.
We have our professor give them all Fs, so they have to return for another semester. It seemed like a good idea at the time.
Yeah.
They hated it. So instead, good luck, seniors. We're really proud of you. We'll miss you, and we love you.
Hail to Pitt forever.
Welcome back to Pitt to the Point. It's almost finals week at Pitt, which means everyone feels like they're juggling like a million things at once.
Unfortunately so, but the club we're highlighting this week for clubbing at Pitt might actually be doing just that. Meet the Masters of Dropping Objects.
You've probably seen some students over by Dippy the Dinosaur juggling, climbing trees, riding unicycles, and doing other circusy things. These students are part of Pitt's premier juggling club, the Masters of Dropping Objects. Club president Noah French gave Pitt to the Point more information about this unique club.
It's just a place for people who are into juggling and circus arts in general. So we've got slackliners, jugglers, some people that like unicycling, just circus arts across the board. Came into be because there's a couple of disconnected juggling clubs throughout Pittsburgh, and it was kind of an attempt to centralize stuff and make kind of a home in at the University of Pittsburgh.
While this club is under Pitt's name, members of the Pittsburgh community and Carnegie Mellon students often come join in on the fun.
I just got a lot of close friends in here. It's probably my main activity. So some of these people as well are people that go to CMU. Some people are just in the community. So that's been kind of fun, is because I've met a lot of interesting people that I otherwise would not have.
The Masters of Dropping Objects are always open to new apprentices, with new people coming every week.
Almost every week we get new people. Seems for the most part people are very interested in learning how to juggle. I'd say the vast majority of people come and learn how to juggle, and they're satisfied with that. But I'd say probably the main thing we do is teach new people to juggle. So you don't need to know how to juggle to have fun.
The club meets every Sunday starting at 3:30 at Carnegie Mellon's campus on the Cut, and every Thursday at 5 by Dippy the Dinosaur. If you're looking for a new hobby, you found it.
That brings us to the end of today's show, which means David and I have the honor of anchoring our last episode of Pitt to the Point.
We wanted to extend a special thanks to our classmates, but don't worry, Pitt to the Point will be back next spring.
Thank you to our news directors, Jamie Ely, Josh Byrne, Michelle Lickstein, and Maggie McLeod. Also, the Pitt Studios staff, especially Chief Engineer Liam Spohr, Athletic Director Heather Like, Director of Communications Jamoke Davis, and the Pitt News advisors and staff.
There's no way we cannot thank KDKA TV's General Manager and Vice President Chris Catuno, News Director Sean Hoder, Head of Digital Content Jonathan Fisher, and the very talented Caitlin Hall.
Pitt to the Point's your #1 news source for everything Pitt. For the last time, I'm Allie Ross.
And I'm David Altman. We can't thank you enough for tuning in to Pitt to the Point for the past 12 weeks.
It's been our honor and pleasure to bring you Pitt to the Point in 2023. Hail to Pitt!
Hail to Pitt!